Well, good morning. My name is Sarah Martin, and I am the program manager at Global Ties KC. We are so excited to be here with you today for another Global Spokes event in conjunction with the Latino Arts Festival. Today, we'll be taking a look at current events in Brazil and how people throughout the world are becoming informed and engaged citizens. As some light housekeeping, we do plan to record and share today's call. We asked that anyone here maybe mute their microphone, and then after the Q&A has kind of wrapped up, we'll open it up for general questions and dialogue as a full group during the last part of the call. So this particular event correlates with the new Global Ties KC initiative called Diverse KC. Through this, we are so excited to highlight key ethnicities that make up our very own community. If you are interested in learning more about Kansas City and the various cultures represented, make sure to follow us on social media and sign up to be on our mailing list. This week, we have been looking at the ways Brazil impacts and interacts with Kansas City, and we can't think of a better way to cap the week than speaking with one of our very own Kansas City program alumni. Today, we are joined by Gabriel Marmentini, who was in Kansas City for 4 weeks in October 2017 through the Young Leaders of the America initiative. During that time, he had the opportunity to become ingrained in the Kansas City culture and entrepreneurial ecosystem. He is a Brazilian social entrepreneur who has founded 2 key organizations, one which advocates for throat and mouth cancer, and the other which provides avenues for active and informed citizenship. We are also honored to welcome our moderator, Laura Furtado, who is currently a fellow and researcher at the Lab for Innovation and Data from the government of Ceará, and a visiting professor at the University of Fortaleza in Brazil, which she teaches governance and innovation in city science. So we're so excited to have you both and welcome. And then from here, we're excited to hear more about the current events in Brazil. And I'm just gonna hand it off to you, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. First, I would like to welcome everybody to this incredible conversation about the power of democracy, voting, and of information. And I want to thank Global Ties KC for the invitation and for creating these spaces of solidarity and exchange. I'm very, very happy to talk to Gabriel, who is amazing, and I look forward to hearing more about him and his work. I think it's impossible in any conversation at this time not to mention COVID-19, a tiny virus that has highlighted several systemic issues of the structures that are established that are supposed to guarantee basic human rights like health, food, and shelter, but that have failed considerably. In Brazil, there has been a vacuum of policies to support especially our most vulnerable communities, and that has made those citizens very vulnerable to false truths and to fake news that damage risk perception. And as a result, we have witnessed that COVID-19 cases have disproportionately impacted low-income communities and have put Brazil in the second nation with most casualties from the virus. And what we have seen is that communication and information has played a big role on that. Official channels of communication and media have presented inconsistent statements regarding adequate physical distancing, quarantine, vaccine, treatments, and hygiene protocols in what has become an extremely politicized and divided discussion. This scenario of crisis has also been inflated by a general lack of trust in the political community. Similar to what is happening in the US, citizens trust Brazilian politics even less and have become disengaged from what they call the system and have become attached to 1 or 2 key figures that offer a promise of salvation. And this is, of course, a matter of concern. In November, Brazilian elections will take place to elect mayors, vice mayors, and city councilors for all cities. And even though these times now may seem troubling, we must also remember the power of local elections to give opportunity to representatives that are directly connected to people. We must fight the system by using our local representatives to exert our voices and start change at a local level. And I think nobody is better to speak on that topic than Gabriel, who is very interesting with a diverse background that teaches us the power of social entrepreneurship. And we are hoping that this conversation will create a spark of hope so that we as Brazilians, but also as a part of a global force, can navigate these times of crisis through better democracy. So thank you, Gabriel, for being here with us. And I want to start first our conversation by hearing more about you right now. What are you up to? We were talking before, and you're currently working in 2 different companies, and you're also a PhD candidate. So please, I look forward to hearing what your work and research consists of.
Nice. Thank you so much, Lara, and everybody that is here with us now or is going to watch this later. So my name is Gabriel. I come from Brazil. I live in the southeast part of our country in a state called Santa Catarina, and in the capital that is an island, really beautiful. It's Florianopolis. I really advise you to check it out on Google because it's a really good place to spend some holidays. And I've been living here since ever. I had some experiences abroad, like in KC, but also I lived in Germany, in Russia for a while, doing things random and like learning to be a global citizen. So regarding my background, I've been studying public administration since 2011 when I started my graduation in our state university here in Santa Catarina. And after doing this degree in public administration, I went straightly to the master in administration too, because I really like to manage things and to understand how organizations works. So that's why I went to this path. And because I kind of realized that I really like to be with people, trying to not to teach. I don't like the expression to teach someone, but kind of share experiences and maybe be the facilitator of some learning process. So then I started to know that maybe I needed to do a PhD also to after the master, because in Brazil we have this system that if you want to really be a full-time employee as a teacher or a researcher in a university, especially public universities, you need to go through this path. So that's why after my master degree in administration, I started my PhD, and I'm doing this right now. So it's 4 years of dedication. My field of study on the master thesis was nonprofit organizations and knowledge management. So how do these organizations create knowledge, like store this knowledge, and how they share among all the people that they work with, and how they use this knowledge to do something good for the society. So that's my topic of research. But in PhD now, I'm trying to kind of explore a new area that I really like, that it's call it advocacy. In Brazil we use the same expression as in English. We don't have a translation. That is basically working with the government and also mobilizing the society in order to create better policies. So that's a summary of my background in academic field. And talking a little bit more about my entrepreneur side, that is, I think it's the main point here of our conversation. It's regarding to two different fields. One is political education and the strengthening of democracy, and the other one is related to the head and neck cancer. I will tell you why. So in 2015, when I just came back from Russia and Germany after living this time abroad, I was finishing my graduation. So it was like just missing some lectures and doing my final job. I don't know in English how to say, but it's kind of a thesis, but for graduation students. And I met a guy called Diego, and he was trying to build something new that we never saw something in Brazil. That it's a political educational platform to talk about politics in a educative way, and not like a newspaper or being put with like some bias, and to say what we think about some subject or some issue, but to really teach people what is behind all this things that is happening in our country. So Diego had the amount of money necessary to start this process. And we got to know each other, and he said, hey, do you want to come with me? And he was building the first team, and it was like 5 years ago. And I was in the last semester of my graduation. I didn't know exactly which path I wanted to follow. I had this clear that I wanted to work with social impact, but I didn't have a really precise topic. So yeah, why not? And then we started to work with Politize, that is the hugest political education platform in Brazil, but not just a platform. We also work with, as a movement, forming new leaders through a process that they start with us as volunteers, and after they spend some time with us in our program, they assume positions in the society that can really make a difference. So our purpose in Politize is to strengthen the democracy in Brazil. And we do this by delivering political education for free for everybody. So you can check our website now if you want. It's politize.com.org, .br, sorry. And we have more than 2,000 contents for free. And nowadays we are having kind of 4 to 5 million access page views every month. So it's a huge platform with Instagram and podcasts and YouTube videos, everything that we can do in this marketing, digital marketing area. So that's a little bit about Politize. And regarding the cancer stuff, my mom had a larynx cancer in 2011. So I was starting my university in 2011, my graduation in public administration, and it was really hard for us to handle that, because I don't know if you had the opportunity to talk a little bit about this cancer, but it's really mutilating, because my mom needed to take off her larynx, and with the larynx of her body, she cannot speak anymore, so she's voiceless. And it's really, depressing for her to handle this and to find herself with an identity, and to look at the mirror and feel fine. So she got depressed for almost 3 years, living with this. Nowadays she's fine, but she takes medicine, and probably she's going to take forever, because it's really hard to handle this. And besides being like a son, touched with this subject, I was touched as an entrepreneur also, and I was thinking, what could I do regarding this issue? And then we started this process to found ACBG Brazil, that it's called in English Mouth and Throat Cancer Association. And then in this organization, we work with advocacy, as I told you, also with information in the sense of content production and campaigns and things like that. Social inclusion, we have some groups of patients all over the country, and also rehabilitation, because people like my mom can start speaking again through 3 types of rehabilitation, vocal rehabilitation that we have in Brazil, but they are not that easy and they are not free. The government doesn't provide this. So it's one of our struggles through advocacy to change this scenario. So I think, Laura, to start, I have this to say, my background in academic field, and a little bit more about the 2 organizations that I am really proud to be part of.
Thank you. I think that was a really good overview, and you've brought on a lot of topics that I also addressed in my sentences that I'm very interested in. And I want you to maybe talk a little bit more about this concept of active citizenship, and how you might have seen that take place in Brazil currently, and also in the ways that it seems like Politize is a platform that has been used also to promote this active citizenship. And I think that information plays a key role in that as well, in the fact of education and countering processes of misinformation, right? And that has become more and more prominent over the years with with all the issues around fake news. So I think I have these kind of underlying subjects that would be interesting for you to connect. So active citizenship, uh, how politics plays a role in that, and how you see information and social movements in Brazil. So how have you witnessed that taking place?
Nice. We always say that to get to know something is just the point of start to do a real change. Because if I get some information but I don't apply this, it's only on my mind, and actually that's not really useful. So how can we really put in practice what we learn? So Politize fills this gap of trying to teach people things and educate them, but also since our beginning we were trying to tell them you can do even more. So what is the level, or what is the 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 stage that you want to take as a citizen? Because there is different. You can really engage it as, trying to win an election, for example, and working as a congressman, for example. But also you can just vote better. You can research for your candidates. You can tell people how important it is to learn politics. You can recommend Politize for someone. You can, in a place with friends, you can talk about politics in a healthy way, not just like yelling or being aggressive with this topic. That is something that we really live in Brazil. People treat politics sometime as soccer for us here, or religion. So topics that are really difficult to talk about. So Politize was born in this sense of trying to not just educate, but bring these people out of the comfort zone to act and to put this active citizenship, as you told, in practice. So for to give an example for you, we have our methodology to train our volunteers divided in four topics. It's political knowledge, plural dialogue, citizen empathy, and community leadership. So with these four topics, we have a lot of contents and activities and challenges for the young people that are with us. But let's see, political knowledge, we are talking about to get to know the basics. You can't be a really active citizen if you don't know how country works, how the institutions works, what the president needs to do, what is the difference between the responsibilities in a city, in a state, in the federal level, and so on. So the basic political knowledge you need to know, you need to have. The plural dialogue regards it's regarding the how can I speak with you here if you guys support, for example, Republicans and I support Democrats. It's not a problem. We can talk about this, about issues that we disagree, but with respect and with tolerance, and trying to really be with non-violent communication applying all the time. So our challenge is to teach our volunteers how they can do that. And it's really difficult because today this theme of politics in Brazil, it's really inflamed even in our families, to talk with our parents, with our cousin, with our boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. So it's really tricky to get to this point, but it's possible, and we are having really great track records with this. The third one is citizen empathy. So how can I look around and understand that the problems that I'm seeing in my community is not government problems, and I don't need to wait them to just solve them. I need to get to understand these problems. I need to have the better tools to start to trying to build some community around me, and aiming to solve something and to put my citizenship as something that I really want to be part of a social change. So citizen empathy is about looking around and understanding that sometimes I will have a topic that I believe it is important, but it's some people are struggling even more with other topic that I am not attached to, but I will kind of let go my topic now and help them to make their topic to foster them. So an example of this, it's really in the cancer stuff. So cancer is bad, no matter if it is in mouth, is in the throat, is in the larynx, is in the breast. So cancer sucks, right? So I am fighting for our policies and things regarding my cancers. But I'm also working with other movements, with other cancer types that are not related to my organization to help them too. So this is about citizen empathy. And finally, the community leadership is when we really put ourselves in the role of solving things. So Gabriel is not waiting a hero president to come and tell, hey, everybody in Brazil now that has the cancer that Gabriel's mom had needs to have this right to be respected like this, and like the perfect speech that I wanted to hear. No, I am creating this speech. So I am fighting and struggling for this, and not alone. I'm just one person here. I have a team that does this with me. So I think the answer is this, Laura. To be an active citizen, you need to maybe take this recipe of Politize, of political knowledge, plural dialogue, citizen empathy, and community leadership, and reflect about these topics, these issues, and try to bring them to your life. And to answer to finalize my answer for you, and regarding the information thing, we are facing really big problems with fake news and things like that in Brazil. Like the last elections, the WhatsApp was the hugest tool to elect whoever is elected now. So we also know the importance of politicizing this issue. So we have some workshops specifically to address this thing of what is a fake news, how to identify what is the different typologies, like the classifications, because we have several different fake news. How can you fight them, right? And we are addressing this with our content in our platform, like that is free for everybody, and also in our offline workshops that we do with our volunteers. So I am seeing that um, because I studied knowledge management too in my master thesis, I really like this topic. And the point is, we are living in the knowledge era, right? So it's not more about industries or about the things you have, but it's about the things you know. And when we talk about this robots stuff that are going to substitute the human workforce, yes, it's going to happen, but not is not going to substitute our soft skills, our sense of citizenship, our sense of belonging, of community, of doing a health politics in our country. So that's something really interesting to reflect upon too.
I want to pick up on two things that you mentioned that are very dear to me. One is this idea of knowledge, and the other one is of community leadership. And the thing you just said, that now it's about the things that you know, it's very difficult for communities that have been historically disenfranchised to trust and believe that they know something, right? And also, they have been excluded for so long from having a political voice and from being a part of the political process. So how do you turn that around and you create a space for these grassroots movement? How do you see maybe that taking place in Politize, and you see that taking place in Brazil right now, in order to, see this partnership happening, of this process of democratizing information, and also empowering not just the average citizen that we know has very different conditions of learning and of becoming engaged, right? But of that citizen who has always been told that they have nothing to contribute. So I think that's my general question of all my practice, and I would like to know your opinion about it.
Yeah, it's a really good question, Laura, because as a Brazilian, I think you might agree with me that we live in a country that it's really unequal. A lot of researchers show this, and I feel really privileged because now I am in the comfort of my house. I am a white guy from the southest part of Brazil, that is the richest part. I had all the education, I had all the bases. I think I should say that it's not like it wasn't easy. I had my struggle, of course. Nothing just came from the heaven for me, but I have all the base, and I have this push from my mom, always believing on me and giving me all the tools and the confidence and, pushing me forward. So that's not the reality in general in Brazil. So when we talk about politics and learning things about political education, that's really something, how can I say, in the pyramid of necessities for a basic citizen that is struggling to have like food for their family. It's not like something that really is important for them. They don't see the value. And I don't judge them, because if I were in their positions, probably I was just being worried about like feeding my daughter and something like this, and trying not to get killed when I go back to my house. And if I am a woman, if I were in Brazil, I would be like really scared about like every kind of problem that you can imagine regarding feminicide and things that it's against women in Brazil. So we have a lot of social issues that really serve as an obstacles and barriers for us to put the subject of political education as a priority. So in terms of narrative, we need always to adapt and try to show for whoever social class you we are talking about, no matter if you were white or black, or if you had like a master's degree or just the basic education. Politics is for everyone, and you need to know the basics. So as Laura told, it's difficult to sometimes talk to these grassroots because they don't have this as a priority. Think in general, like the citizens that live in the neighborhood, more like in the slums that we call in Brazil, and people that are really in this margin of the society. But also we have really important groups as the Black movement groups, the indigenous groups, the women that are even more organized and trying to make their voice heard and fighting this sexism and things here in Brazil. So this is not like politicized a flag, like our subject. We talk about politics in a more like broad way. So in our website, you can find content about all these movements, about LGBTQ and and but we don't do specific projects regarding these populations. So we try to bring them for some like events that we do, like to talk to our volunteers, for them to get to know different perspectives. That's really important, because as we believe in democracy, we really believe that everyone needs to be respected, and we need to respect everyone, even though we don't agree with anything that this person chosen for its life. So it's really challenging for us. The point that I want to make is to really democratize the knowledge, because we still have an elitized people that comes to our website, people that have money, that have access to knowledge. If you know the metric, if you see the metrics, you can see that mostly white people comes to our website, and we need to struggle to transpass this barrier, because actually it is this people that are marginalized that needs more, because they are the most affected because of the bad decisions and all the bad policies that we have, and all this corruption that you see in Brazil. For me, as I was saying, that I have some privilege, I just sometimes pay the price of paying more taxes or being angry with some government decision. But my life is fine. I am in a stage that I don't have many things to worry about. And this is interesting for us to reflect and in something more general about what we are doing as a society, because we are producing a lot, the capitalism and the industries and these things of having more, having the new iPhone, having the new house, having the best things in the world all the time. We are killing the planet, and without a planet we don't have a democracy. So I am trying to just say to you that after 5 years, we get a little bit confused sometimes working in Politize, because it seems that we are doing just a little bit, and we need to believe that this little thing is really important and it's making a difference, because otherwise sometimes we get demotivated, because the problem is so deep that we need, let's say, 100 politicizes doing something like this. So I close like that, and I pass for you to Laura.
You know, Gabriel, you shouldn't be discouraged. I think it goes back a little bit to what I said about the power of the local and the power of small change. That it may seem small, but that's where we can really do some. That's where we can do some damage, right, to the system. So, uh, you know, you shouldn't feel discouraged. At least not from where I look. But I understand there's a lot of there are a lot of issues. But maybe on a more positive note, have you been able to witness some of this active citizenship taking place, and maybe changes that you've seen in certain groups of people's behavior through this process of becoming more engaged with politics? And perhaps even if you've seen that with the current COVID crisis, right? Because the moment of crisis was also a moment for us to find out and innovate, right? And to come up with different ways to solve problems. So perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about positive examples of success and things you have witnessed with citizens doing.
Nice. Yes, I think Brazilian people are really creative. And so we are used to see in crisis opportunities, and that's a good way to see life in general, I think. So as when happened to my mom, nobody wants to have a cancer, but nowadays I just say nice that my mom had cancer, because she's alive now, so that's important, and she could, survive and struggle, and we could found something that are really helping a lot of people in Brazil. And maybe I know I'm not a religious guy, but I believe in something in the universe and things that like just need to happen. And I think the COVID crisis is an example of this. So I try to see this as something needed for our society to evolve, um, and and to really reflect upon all habits that we have, all the decisions of purchasing things and what we are doing with our time, how we are having our relationship with our friends and family, and to look more for the people that are in different stages of opportunities that us. So the COVID crisis are like putting a light in something that was all the time there, but some people in Brazil try to, like, I don't know if the right word is to fake, but I'm not seeing this. So we I like to say that we sometimes live in castles and we don't look around and see that all the COVID crises are showing something that was already there. So in this sense, I think Brazilian that are already entrepreneurs like myself and my team, we take advantage of this opportunity to create new projects, to reflect upon some practice, to change the scope of something that we had like planned in January. So we needed to change a lot of things, and we are doing well because I think this is part of the entrepreneur lifestyle. So we are always leading with crisis, and for us that we handle, try to solve some really big issues, like really big social problems. We try to call them wicked problems. It's difficult to see what are the causes, and it's so complex that we are really used to handle this situation. So examples that I have to show to you is mostly people that are really trying to build new projects to bring food for the slums that are not having access to the basic lunch and breakfast and dinner, that it's so basic for me that I have everything that I want to eat here. The market is just like here, I can order food in my phone, but a lot of people are like starving, um, and this image that we are used to see about Africa and as a continent in general, that it's really, I don't like them because it's sometimes we generalize all the countries in Africa. Africa is a really big continent, and we say, oh, Africa people are starving. Yes, some places we find this with really intensive, but in Brazil we have to. We have a lot of people starving now as we are talking here and trying to disseminate some content and some information. We have people that are not able to just like have a computer because they don't have even like rice and beans to eat. So in this COVID crisis, I've been seeing this active citizenship regarding solidarity. and people organizing themselves and their friends to, bring food and like soap and these things of high hygiene for the slums. I'm also seeing many companies trying to listen more to their audience and seeing what they are uh, feeling right now, and trying to build new products and services that fit their necessities in this moment. In Politize also, we've been listening for the whole community. We have more than uh, 900 people now with us involved in volunteer programs, what they are feeling now and how they can put their citizenship in practice even more to help them. So we are trying to build, like, fundraisings and local things to help people that are in most need. So to close this question, uh, I'm really excited to see what is going to happen after all that. So I'm really hoping for us to see all this COVID crisis as a really opportunity to evolve as a society and to change a lot of things. And once I heard I listened to a podcast saying that we just need 25% of a ecosystem to change the whole ecosystem, because this 25% is enough to make this systematically impact. So let's say 25% of the humanity being, thinking different after this crisis, it's going to be like a really good opportunity for us to rethink what we are doing. Because I will tell you, I want to be a father, I want to have kids, and I don't know which country, which planet, which earth, which world they are going to find, because I don't know if there's going to be water for them. I don't know if there's going to be land for them to harvest things. And so, Laura, I give back to you with these things of with these reflections of being, I think, all of people need to be now optimistic about what is coming, because otherwise I I will I will beg that we are going to bet that we are going to have a lot of people, as we are seeing now, in depression and thinking that we are not going to transpass these challenges. I have I've been seeing a lot of people with mental issues working with me, and with difficulty with to focus, and with really anxious, and like not believing more that we have a way, like the light in the tunnel. But I believe on this, and I'm not having a pessimistic speeching. I'm just being realistic, because now is the time that we really active our citizenship.
I agree. And I think it's really important that you talked about these things, because there's this concept now of being a social entrepreneur, is that of the fact that you can be profitable and have a career, but actually having a positive impact. And I don't think this concept has been as prominent as it is now, perhaps because of the situation that we are in, that everybody is so aware that we need change, and everybody is so aware that different that there's all these groups of people that have these needs that haven't been met. And so and I do think that the newer, younger generation has emerged with these themes in their minds, because the topic of climate change is very different for them as it is for us, right, growing up with that idea. So I do think that the fact that there is such a thing as a social entrepreneur, and that is a valid career, and it's not just profit for the sake of profit, which is probably what characterized 30 or 40 years ago. And now we're suffering those damages, right? So I do want to know more about how, any advices that you have for this younger generation that maybe has an idea or has something that they're very passionate about, and they might feel like they don't know how to make a profit off of it, and how do you go about it? Perhaps what should you even study, if there's such a thing as institutional studying for that? right? And your experience is very unique in the sense that you have studied in all these different venues and lived in all these different places. And I'm trying to close this down on a little bit of a more hopeful note that, you know, there is a lot of potential for us to innovate and to be profitable and to take all this garbage and just throw it in the trash and start brand new, you know? So
Yeah.
please,
Nice. Yes, I think we all have a responsibility here being on Earth. So the first step is to recognize that. Uh, it's like when I recognized that I was sexist, you know, because you born as a man and automatically you have a lot of structure that, you know, kind of put you in this position of thinking. Sometimes is unconscious, you know, that you are superior, you know, and then you need to recognize this and say, hey, I'm wrong and I want to be better, I want to do things right, I want to, you know, evolve, because nobody's perfect, we are here to learn, we are here to, you know, make mistakes. And the same thing goes to citizenship even more, because citizenship in Brazil is something that we don't study on the school, we don't talk in our family, we don't have this as a habit, something that we really like, as playing soccer. You can talk to any Brazilian boy, at least he knows about something related to soccer, to sports, or to parties in Brazil. When I was living abroad and living in Russia and Germany and also in KC, people, when I told them, I'm Brazilian, they think about these things, carnival, you know, parties and beautiful things, and sometimes Amazon and the forest, right? And Brazil is really more, it's bigger than this. And to be even bigger, we need to wake up. And as citizens, especially the privileged ones, I'm talking to people like me and not the the hugest part of our population that are struggling to eat, that I was saying uh, uh, later. So the point is, I think the first step is recognizing this. The second one is seeing maybe the SDGs, that there are really good opportunities for the sustainable development goals for to guide your action, because sometimes we want to do something but we don't know exactly where to start. So for example, I love the environment, I want to work something related to this, but which uh, specifically goal or issue I'm going to focus on. And maybe the SDGs can bring you, like, to put this light on these opportunities for you to choose something. And also then after looking the SDGs, like, confirm if in your country and if in your city, in your state, this is really a big problem or not. Uh, the third thing is we are living in this information generation, so we have a lot of online courses and things for free in the internet. So my mom always said that in her time she needed to take like encyclopedias to search for what she needed, and to make like a conversation like this was like really a dream. And nowadays we have a lot of, you know, opportunities and technologies and things like just waiting us to get advantage of. So I will tell you that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to study, because it's not just like something for fun. I'm not just doing this because I love democracy or cancer. And no, there is a logic behind this. There is like a management, there is a structure, bureaucracy, processes, you know, tools, people. We need to, you know, have a HR to manage people that we are hiring. We need to have accountancy to take care of the money. We need to have lawyers. We need to have a structure as any other business. So it's really easy to think about business like, let's say, Coke. It's a really big business, you know, but we are business too. The good part of business, right? So we study this in management a lot, and I really advise that if you is listen, the people that are listening us and that want to start up a path as an entrepreneur, to study a lot in these free resources that you can see. The fourth thing is to, you know, try to exchange information and try to find people like you to talk about, you know, I'm here today because Sarah invited me. I like her. I like the experience that I had, and I'm here, trying to pass a message. I don't have any expectation. I'm just here to talk with you, to change. And maybe I learned something new. You learned something new, and we need to bring more people into these conversations. So don't feel alone. The point is, don't feel alone. You need to put yourself in these spaces to talk about the things that you believe and to get help. And finally, I would say that we don't have like a really perfect time to start things. I see people that they believe, oh no, I need to study this much, or I need to be at this age, or I need this amount of money. We are always seeing what is missing and not what we already have. So this is a really big problem, because if you want to learn a little bit more about this way of thinking, you can search about like effectuation. It's a way of thinking that you need to start whatever you want to start with what you have now. If you just have a computer and some bucks in your account, let's do a prototype, let's do an MVP, let's try to put in the world the thing that we believe, because there is no perfect time. uh, so maybe if you have a lot of money, or like a family that can support you and things like this, but in general, the entrepreneurs that I know, they started just like being confident that I want to do this, and no matter what it takes, I'm going for it. So it's a really important characteristic in entrepreneurs, the resilience, to get a no, and you just go for the yes. And you're gonna take like 20 no's, and then you're gonna take one yes. So you cannot take no's for granted. You need to go for it and to try again, and to be really PC with these things, and uh, go for it. So I really believe in everything that I do. That's why the things are growing and happening, because I really love. And to finish this, find what you love. Maybe use tools like Golden Circle and other tools that are available on internet to reflect upon on what are you doing here in Earth, because everybody has a purpose to follow. Your purpose can be work in a big company and be rich, no problem, but maybe do something with all this richness that you're going to have, help other people, and do stuff that are going to maybe bring these other people to be rich one day as you. So I really think that we need to reflect on this, because the really uh, disease of our society nowadays, in my point of view, is not knowing what we are doing.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? I
Yeah, I
apologize.
hear.
The disadvantages of this scenario is that sometimes you may lose your connection and
Ah,
disappear.
okay.
But I really appreciate that you said that. I just want to, for the sake of exchanging in knowledge and for everybody to know, when you talked about the SDGs, in the state of Ceará and in the city of Fortaleza, SDGs have been a major indicator to guide all public and manage, government action. So I do really appreciate that, of reading the environment that you're in and kind of what are the priorities, and then finding solutions within that it's much easier to sell your idea and getting people to see, because it has a direct impact on a goal that has already been established, right? So if anybody has an idea, come to Ceará, and it's a good state for innovation. And also, Gabriel, just we have a question from one of our audience members, and I think it's a very, very good question for us to think kind of about the future of the future of debate, the future of democracy in Brazil, especially with these upcoming elections, right? And Brenda posed, how do you suppose that we can carry out a conversation that is impartial and that is kind of maybe free of violence in some form, when having an opinion about a matter is a kind of innate to us humans? So isn't that what the basis of discourse and of debate is, having a side? And so how do we have these conversations that are impartial, but it's impossible to be impartial because everybody has a side, especially when it seems like the conversations that we're having have completely escaped what we consider to be common sense. So how do you debate a Nazi, or how do you debate a homophobe, right? Like, how do you debate these topics? And I think that these are issues that we've had to confront more and more. And so how do you see us moving forward in these debates that are so contentious, right?
Wonderful question. I think the first thing is we need to separate what is a fact and what is opinion. And this is something that people really don't remember when they are talking about politics. I might have an opinion that I don't know. Let's say my city has too many cars, and then I speak a lot about cars and air pollution and things that I hate cars, and we need to just like don't have more automobiles in our city. But I really checked the data. I really know how many cars were produced and are circulating in my island. So the point is people talk too much without knowing things. So I really take a position of just speaking about something that I really have some, like source. And if I don't know, I just say, "Hey, Laura, I don't know how to answer this thing that you just answered me." And I feel that I don't know if it's just in Brazil or in all the world, but people in general want to have an opinion. We have this need to to prove something. So uh, otherwise you're going to be excluded of the conversation, or otherwise you are going to be the dumb one that don't have something to share, and that's really sad because it's okay to not know. We are always learning. So the first point that I bring to this answer is the difference between facts and opinion. When we come to facts, uh, it's easier to talk because uh, the people that are listening to you with facts, they don't have much. Uh, they don't have where to run. You know what I mean? So if I'm saying that Brazil is unequal for this and this and this source, we don't need to spend much time on seeing the opinion of this person because there is something that is proving this. So this is one thing. The second thing is related to the nonviolent communication method. You can get to know more reading Marshall Rosenberg book that is the guy that started all this, and he talks a little bit about necessities and feelings. So everybody has something as a necessity when are like talking and speaking. I'm here today because maybe I have this necessity to you know tell about what I'm doing because it's good for me to tell about, maybe to improve my English, maybe to get to know people, new people, maybe just to see Courtney and Sarah again. I don't know exactly, but something moved me into this acceptance. I'm not, it's not mandatory to be here, right? And also, Sarah invited me for a reason that she knows. And so everything in life has this reason. So when we talk to someone about a topic in politics, we need to try to understand what is important for this person. We had this a lot in these last elections when Bolsonaro won the elections. And it was really interesting to see that a lot of voters of Bolsonaro actually wasn't supporting him directly, but they were against the corruption that in their mind was brought by the other parties that were in the power later on. Uh, so when you talk with this thing on mind of being aware of what are the necessities that these people that I'm talking to have, you can have a more like proposal conversation, and then you can ask questions like why you think like that, what make you come to this way of not way of racism, which sources do you have that prove that corruption was just brought by the other parties? And why do you believe that with this new president is going to be different? And then you ask more questions instead of making your point, because this is the other point that I want to make, the third one, telling about our necessity to be right, to have an opinion. taking the first thing that I was saying. So we want to talk a lot. Mostly of the times we are like listening a question. I'm sorry, listening someone talking some point of view, waiting for answer, and not just like really listening to this and connecting with the people that are speaking to us, like with the empathy, you know. So we have this necessity, this we are anxious to know. When some word comes, we take this word in our mind and okay, I'm going to, you know, make my answer like this in this way, and then I stop listening, and in that moment I'm not listening anymore for anything that this person is saying. So the final thing is that the point in politize is not being impartial. We don't like this word. I agree with the person that asked this question, because everybody has their beliefs, their causes. I'm here representing somehow politize. So what I'm saying here uh, is trying like just to share some point of view, but in the person side, like Gabriel's view, not politize view, right? And in our website, our content, all these things are the same. We are not saying, hey, you shouldn't be voting in Bolsonaro, or Lula was the worst president that we had, or the best thing that we need to do in the next elections is to do this and that. No, that's not our role, you know. There are a lot of other media and organizations doing this, you know, and making their topic to be heard. As I like to say, is we show the person, the people in general, the tree, and it's their role to see the forest. So they see the tree, they understand the basic, and then they build their forest as they want, right? With the ideologies that they like, with the parties that they like, with the candidates that they like. So finally, I wanted to say that we also create in our mind that is, as is difficult to talk with someone that thinks different from us, we kind of avoid to you know to have this conversation, and we are not going to have any advance if we keep doing this. So my stepfather, for example, voted in someone different from my choice, and it's really different, and I really don't like the option that he made. But I learned to talk with him just to, you know, kind of respect his point of view, and now I understand more why um, he did that. And he is older. He had another way of creation, you know, like he came from the interior side, from the rural area of Santa Catarina in our state, so totally different from the way I think. And the point is not saying that Gabriel is right and my stepfather is wrong. The point is basically understanding why, and just respect, you know, because in democracy we are always going to live in with different positions. So I think that's my answer for this question, Laura.
Good. So we've hit the end of the hour, but I have a quick question for both of you for context. So one of the things that we've been facing in the United States is this extreme polarization in media outlets and reporting, especially as it relates to politics. You're either watching a conservative news channel or you're watching a liberal news channel, and figuring out how to find that central voice. Is there that same polarization in Brazil? And what are the best ways to kind of find a central message and to hear both sides of an argument?
Nice. Yes, the same thing happens here, and also it's nice to say that we created a project called, I don't know in English the how to say the opposite of polarization, depolarization maybe. So we create a project in Brazil that it's called Despolarize, and the goal of this project is to create like tools, manuals to guide. Healthy conversations in online platforms, and also, you know, like in one-on-one. And we also had like a cards, we made like a kind of a game to help, you know, healthy conversations. I can put the link here after in the chat. So we see this a lot, especially on this polarization regarding left and right. So people in general think that the only parties and the only way of discussing politics, it's talking about right and left. In Brazil, we have 35 parties, so it's a lot of parties in different spectrum. Sometimes a party will be more like left in economic, but right in social things. So we can't analyze our choices, our options, our parties, our candidates just like, oh, you are from this party, so automatically you are this thing. So we like to put stereotypes, roles, and things that really are bad for the debate. So uh, one thing that we are saying that it's really helpful for stop with this polarization is having these good conversations through this non-violent perspective methodology and trying to listen. But I'll tell you, it's not easy. Sometimes you just want to get out because you get hurt. Sometimes people tell you things that are not good, are not nice to listen, and you just explode as a citizen, as a human. Let's take an example of the LGBT community. I am straight, so I don't feel their hurts. But I have friends, and I live in a country that we have a lot of people in this community, and they suffered a lot. Recently, they are suffering since ever, but I mean, recently they suffered a lot because they are listening to really nasty things and messy confusions regarding their option of being what they want to be. And we need to understand how to not polarize not just the debate between party A and party B, but also like being a man or being a woman, or being white or being black. We are humans, and we are a society that we have challenges in each group. So we need to, as I was saying in my last question, uh, previous question, the thing of citizen empathy. Of course I understand that I have a lot of privilege of being white, of course. And the first thing is to understand this, to try to use my privilege, to talk with other white people that don't recognize that we have privilege, to tell them, hey, you have, because you don't go to a supermarket and have the security man just looking to you thinking that you are stealing something. I never felt something like this because I'm white. So these things that are happening in the US happen in Brazil all the time. We have, I think, 52%, 54% of our population are black people. It's a lot more than you guys in terms of percentage. So I'm telling a lot of things here regarding polarization in a way that it's not just regarding parties and our options in elections and politics, but in life in general. Everything is too polarized. And I think it's not just politics role to change that, but ours here. So let's have from now on a really good conversation with people that thinks different from us.
Okay, well, thank you both so much for being here. I think that was one of the most motivational hours we've had within the series since we've been doing since April. And I'm not surprised that we someone like Gabriel and our new friend Lara to do it. So thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciated it. We hope you both will stay in contact and connected. And if there's anything that we can do, or maybe the Kansas City community can do for either of you or your organizations or your endeavors moving forward, please let us know. We are here we're here as humans, just like Gabriel was saying. So thank you all so much. We're going to call it a day, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. It was
Thank
lovely.
you so much. Thank
Ciao.
you so
both
much.
for being with us today.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Bye bye.